Alright, hello everybody. This is Sir Adrian back here to film the German Empire's turn in our current game of Global Empires 1915, titled Operation Blackhand, where we are going into the summer of 1919. So Chile would align at this point, but Chile is already aligned to the Germans, so we don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. In terms of purchases, 40 IPPs to spend. I'll spend all 40 on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 infantry units, heavy artillery, and advanced artillery, and then diplomacy rolls on Argentina and Spain. So that'll leave us 0 IPP. So we'll go ahead and do these first. Diplomacy. Actually, sorry, no. We'll go ahead and do the tech rolls. So we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 plus the free one. We will go for doctrine. We'll go for industrialization. Actually, no, we'll go for, doctrine. We'll go for bombers. Go for fighters. That's 3. Go for doctrine naval 4. That's 5. And then we'll try to go for early armor. So we'll roll that first. So that one we need a 6 or more. So that's a miss. Whoops. Sorry about that. We'll go for fighters, which I believe is a 7 or higher. 6 or higher, but that's a success. So Germans get a free tactical bomber. We'll go for bombers. And 11. Actually, I'm just noticing that this one, if that's a fail, that couldn't be there because that would be more than so many stages ahead. So we'll roll for doctrine first. So that's a success, but we'll see if doctrine's a success. Okay, thankfully doctrine is a success, so that moves to stage 3. So this is able to move to stage 6. That's bombers, because that's within the range allowed. So success, success. Tactical bombers, I guess, yeah, all 3 of those were a success. That one's a miss. That leaves us with 2 more rolls. And I think I said we would go for, I believe, yeah, we did those 3. Early armor. Yeah, so 2 more rolls. So we'll go for naval. That's a miss. Doctrine, sorry, within the naval domain, and we'll go for naval. And that's a success. So Germany's at stage 5 there. So we'll go ahead and put the tactical bomber quick before we forget. There we go. Then we'll do these rolls for the diplomacy while I'm over here. There we go. So red will be for, actually here, we'll change these. Okay, never mind. Black will be for Spain, red will be for Argentina. So for both of them, we need, mm, actually, you know what? You can pay. We haven't, nobody's done that, but I know that was clarified in the other rules that you can pay. Actually, no. I think for this game, just to keep things consistent, I'll stick with not being able to pay, so the roll can be a success on a 1 to a 4. I'll just stick with that. So red will be for Argentina at a 1 to 3, and the black will be for Spain. Damn it. That's a piss off. See, that would have been a success. But like I said, we'll try and keep things consistent since I think we've all been playing like that for this game. So in terms of attacks, we'll have a couple. So the Zeppelin here is going to bomb the minor factory in Bohemia. So we'll go ahead and roll that first. So that'll be quite simple. So 1 to 4 is damage. Okay, so 2 damage. Then he gets the anti-aircraft from the facility at a 1. Miss. So it's not too bad for us. Go ahead and copy this. So I can't quite recall if that would be out of commission, but that minor factory has, oh, good grief. Okay, well, it has 2 damage. And the Zeppelin will just fly back to where it was before. It can reach again. The other attack we will have is we will have a transport. Yeah, we'll have a transport pick up an infantry and a colonial infantry. It's going to move 1 along with this, the from the second fleet we'll have two dreadnoughts, which will get a boost of 2, or sorry, that actually move 2 already on their own, but anyway, they'll move over 1, 2 to support that operation, and will declare war on Peru. So we'll first, actually we'll bring to clear in the as well that sea zone. So we'll use the early cruiser, this torpedo boat, and this early cruiser to fight the Peruvian torpedo boat destroyer. And the dreadnoughts won't be partaking in that battle. They'll be doing the bombarding. I do believe I'm doing that correctly. So these would be the, I think, screening force, I believe would be the term, and these are the continuing force along with the transport. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. So the Peruvian torpedo boat destroyer will defend on A2, and we have 2 early cruisers and a torpedo boat. So the early cruisers, I believe. So our torpedo boats at A2 and early cruisers at A5 they attack. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and roll that here. So the reds will be our 2 early cruisers at 5. This will be our torpedo boat at 2. Okay, so we got a hit that we needed. He'll get to roll on a 2 in defense. That's a miss. So the Peruvian torpedo boat's eliminated. Then we'll have the dreadnoughts partake in the bombardment, which I believe is at a 3. Okay, at a 2. So those will be at 2. So 2 dreadnoughts bombarding at a 2 or less. Okay, so both of 5, so those are misses. So we have our units get to offload. So we have an apologies for all the cross-referencing. It'll take a while to learn all the units. Okay, so we have a second joint infantry attacking at a 2, and then a colonial infantry attacking at a 2, but it is mountain terrain, so they'll be reduced to a 1. So 3 rounds of combat. So we'll roll both those at a 1 for the first round of combat. Nothing. So he just has a militia that defends at a 2. Nothing. Round 2. So 2 at a 1. Nothing. 1 at a 2. Nothing. And then the last round. So 2 at a 1. And nothing. And 1 at a 2. Nothing. So those go back onto the ship. And Peru will align to, in this case, it would be the Americans, because they're the closest. So USA will go up by 1 IPP. And there'll be a militia there. There we go. That's it for that. With the sub, we'll raid here. Black will be myself as the attacker. Red will be the Americans defending. They're at a +2. So that's 4 to his 3. So that'd be 1 damage on that line. And then he has the Q ship, so we go ahead and roll that on a 1. That's a miss. Yep, that's fine. Okay, that's it for all that. And then the only other attack we're going to have is we're going to have this transport here will pick up an early tank and an infantry. It'll move 1-2 to join this force. We'll have one of the transports here that'll move 1. Or 2 of our transports, sorry. So one of them's it has an infantry unit that's not in Latvia, it's on this transport. It'll move 1, pick up another infantry unit, move back and partake in an attack on Petrograd. And then the other transport that's empty will move 1, pick up the heavy artillery and the infantry, move 2, and partake on an attack in Petrograd. So these units will be attacking Petrograd. These units will also be involved. And this pre-dreadnought will move in as well. So we'll start with his coastal artillery defense roll, which is at a 3 per attacking ship, up to a maximum of 3 shots. So he'll get 3 shots there. So that's 1 hit, 2 hits. Okay, somehow 3 hits, which is quite annoying. So we'll lose 3 pre-dreadnoughts. So we'll have a pre-dreadnought that'll be bombarding at a 2, and then a battleship that'll be bombarding at a 4. So we'll go ahead and roll those. So pre-dreadnought bombarding at a 2, miss, and a battleship bombarding at a 4. Okay, so that's 1 hit. He does have a trench line with those 4. Bombers more costly. I'm not sure if you can lose anti-aircraft artillery as first casualty. I think they're picked last, so that has first strike. Though I imagine he'd lose the bomber just because the artillery has first strike. If that's not the case, we can change that, but we'll take the bomber off. So then my units get to offload. So we have 1, 2, 3 regular infantry units. And then the tank and heavy artillery have to wait, or sorry, this infantry is also 4 infantry. So they have to partake in the first round of combat. So those will be 4 at a 2 because it's flat terrain. So no hits. So then he's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 at their early infantry. Which defend at 3, but then they're in a trench line, so they should be up to, damn it, I believe it's 4. Or 5, but there was no hits there. They'll have their and their artillery would get a first strike before that. Actually, I should have rolled that before, but that was a miss. Anyways, but I'll have to make sure of that in the future. Okay, so that's it. So no hits, thankfully, even though I didn't get any. And I just want to double check. I don't know if we have combined arms to continue that attack. Requirements. hurricane bombardment, and early armor. Early armor we have. It must be part of each tank round to continue tank trench line. Infantry, trench fighter, operations, armor, artillery, and fighter. So infantry, trench fighter, or special operations, armor, artillery, and fighter. Okay, so I think we can reading this because we have infantry units, and then you need at least armor, artillery, or a fighter, not one from each, but it sounds like a unit, any unit from these classes. So we can continue up to 3 rounds, if I'm understanding that correctly. So we'll press the attack. So now we'll have our 4 at 2. But we will have the heavy artillery, which, sorry, I'm a little tired. Should have mentioned that would be boosting one of them. I'm not sure if it matters if I said which one, so this would technically be a hit. We'll mark that. Again, I imagine he would want to try to keep that trench line maybe, so he'd probably lose the artillery, but that's going to get the fire back nonetheless. Then we have our heavy artillery firing, which will hit on a 6 or less. That's a miss. And then our early tank. Which will be at a 4. So that's a hit. So 2 hits. So his artillery would then fire his early artillery at a 3. So that's a miss. And then he would have 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry. Still have the trench line, so as I said, I believe they're at a 4 that would respond. So he gets a hit, but it's double hits because we're infamous assaulting, so we'll lose 2 infantry. So lose those. And then we could have 1 more round because it's max of 3. So we'll have our 2 at 2, or here, this one, before I forget again. The red one will be the one that'll be boosted, so that'll be at a 3. The blue one will be at a 2. Okay, terrible luck with these rolls, but those are misses. We have the heavy artillery at a 6 or less. It's a miss, and then the tank at a 4. And that's a miss. And then he has his 3 infantry at 3. And of course, that's a hit. I hate rolling on TTS. Seems like I always get terrible luck. But anyway, that's done. So those retreat just back out to sea. And that's it for that battle. Apologies, I imagine this video is going to be quite long, far longer than I wanted it to be. So that's it for attacks. We'll try to quick get non-combat movement out of the way. So we're gonna have 2 infantry from Berlin. We're gonna walk over into Western Germany. Gonna have 2 from Bavaria that are gonna walk over into Western Germany. Uh, we'll have these ships along with the rest of the second fleet that'll move on over to join the other ships over here. In whichever sea zone that is. And that, oh, and we'll have this torpedo boat. We'll move 1 and cross on over. Yeah, to join them as well. Yeah, yep. So that'll be it for that. So then just placing units. So place 3 infantry in Bavaria, or Berlin, apologies. We'll place 3 in Western Germany. We'll place 3 in Bavaria. And we'll place the tactical bomber, the advanced artillery, and our heavy artillery at our 3 factories in Chile. And then we'll go ahead and collect our IPP. So we have +1 for trade with Argentina, and we add to that 32. So 32 plus 1, so we'll have a total of 33 IPP to spend for the next turn. So this video is already going to be quite long, so we'll go ahead and quick end it there. That'll be it for the Germans. We will hand things on over to the British.